Welcome to the Courage to Change with Karen podcast, the place where we get real about addiction recovery and celebrate the victories against struggle. I'm Karen Gardenier, your navigator on this journey of healing, committed to uplifting families touched by addiction. Together, let's unravel the intricate dance of mind, body, and spirit with compassion, tenacity, and steadfast commitment. This is Karen. Welcome to Courage to Change with Karen, episode 11. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Hope all is well in your world. Today I'm going to read February 29th. I know it's March already, but this is a really good one. I don't want to skip it. Okay? I know that you won't want to skip it either, at least, talking about it. So it's February 29th, page 60, out of Courage to Change, which is an Al-Anon meditation book. You can get it in Amazon if you want one. It's fantastic. Okay, February 29th. I am told that the automatic pilot in an airplane does not work by locking onto a course and sticking to it. Instead, it steers back and forth over the path of an assigned course and makes the necessary corrections when it senses that it has strayed. In reality, the autopilot is on course only 5 to 10% of the time. The other 90 to 95% of the time, it is off course and correcting for its deviation. I, too, must make continuous adjustments. I am much more willing to do so today because I have stopped expecting myself to be perfectly on course. I am bound to make plenty of mistakes, but with the help of the Al-Anon program, I'm learning to accept mistakes as an inevitable part of the adventure of living. Today's reminder, I can learn to steer the course my higher power sets by relying on a process of trial and error that includes a willingness to continually make adjustments. And then there's a little quote at the bottom. It says, a person who makes no mistakes usually does not make anything. Boy, that's the truth. What a great reading this is, huh? So the truth is you set autopilot, and only 5 to 10% of the time is it on autopilot. The rest of the time, it's getting back on autopilot. It's correcting the course. And, that makes me think of New Year's and New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you. I set lofty goals for myself, right? And then somehow it just peters out. And, this year I decided to do something different. And I broke my year up into quarters. And I'm reevaluating like every month. Okay, how am I still on course? Am I still doing this or not? And it's been helpful. I mean, it's been much better. It's been better for me. I've been able to correct my course. It's easier to correct the course after a couple days than it is a couple months or a couple years. I remember when I was young, I was babysitting for these people down the street, and one day, and she was really a cute gal, and I was young. I was probably 13 or 14. And I said something to her. They got back from dinner, and I said, oh, did you have dessert or something? And she said, no, I didn't have dessert today. She says, she goes, I'm not crazy about watching my weight, but if I gain 5 pounds, I make sure I take it off. Because it's easier to take off 5 pounds than it is to take off 25 pounds. And that stuck with me because I'm not that kind of gal. And I've been notorious for this. I can lose, a lot of weight, and I get back to my fighting weight, as I call it. And then it slowly comes back on. And you think I would stop, like at, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 8 pounds, 12 pounds, 1 pant size, 2 pant, and correct the course. But that hasn't the way I've been. I just have never been that way. And so this year I'm trying to do a little different. I'm trying to correct the course as I go. Now, one of the things I like about the program and having this kind of design for living, it really works for me, right? This design for living. And one of the things it has is in the 11th step, it gives me an opportunity to every day check and see how I'm doing. So every night I do an 11th step prayer. And it asks me, how did I do today? And it lists off, areas that I need to be, that I've learned. I've learned about myself in the 4th step. And I kind of do a little checklist. And I think, okay, is there anything I can do about it right now? No. Tomorrow, do I need to do something? Yeah, I probably need to say I'm sorry to this person, or not do this anymore, or I need to do that I'm avoiding. It gets me kind of like, okay, how'd I do today? And every day I just try to do better than I did yesterday. It gives me an opportunity to say, okay, God, higher power, whatever, I did the best I could do today. I messed up, but I'm gonna, what's it say in the thing? I'm gonna adjust my course. I'm gonna get back on track. And it's so much easier. Like that woman told me when I was 13, so much easier to do it one day at a time than it is to let stuff pile up and go sideways on you. What a great program it is. And the reason I have these kind of tools that they talk about, these principles and these tools they talk about in Al-Anon is because I did the 12 steps. And boy, that was a game changer for me. That was really huge. When I did those steps, I was really able to let go of being a victim of my circumstances, and really take responsibility. And it sounds crazy to say that because I'm a very responsible person, and you would not think, but I needed to take responsibility for my own actions, for my own reactions, mostly the way I was reacting to life. And I think, if you know better, you should do better. When you don't know, what are you going to do? But since I've been on this journey, it's been like, like an onion peeling. I know you've probably heard that before, but it's like these layers come off and I can see more. And I need to grow. I need to change. I want to do better than I did yesterday. I want to be happy and I want to be healthy, and I'm going to make mistakes, but I can correct them. I can learn from them. That's one of those old sayings, that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that's for sure. As long as I'm learning, if I keep doing the same thing over and over, whether it's expecting someone to change, being disappointed by something or someone, that's me. That's me, my expectations. That's me thinking I know what you should be doing. That's me setting, it's like getting into the ring with Mike Tyson, why am I showing up for a beating? Why don't I just learn the lesson and then just keep going, And it's a great way to live. It really is. But at first, I have to take off this expectation. In any kind of 12-step programs, people come in and they get real excited because things start changing. Like, they just start shifting. And as you change, everything shifts around you, right? So it's really kind of like, it's kind of magical. I mean, it's really, and you get on this pink cloud and then you want everything to be, perfect. And you want everything to be, people get that way a lot, and they think it's about getting good. You're going to be perfect. You're going to just be the kindest, most loving person with great boundaries and healthy relationships. And you know what? For the most part, I think that's happened for me, but I have made mistakes and I've had to redirect my course, and it's a powerful tool to know that you can do this a little bit at a time instead of these big, huge shifts like on New Year's Eve. I'm never doing this again, or I'm going to walk 5 miles every day, and you put these things on yourself that are just, I don't know, they're just unrealistic. It's setting yourself up for failure. It's getting in the ring. It's, taking one right on the chin when we do those things, instead of saying, okay, if I want to walk 5,000, or if I want to walk 5 miles a day at the end of the year, by the end of the year, then I'm going to start walking to the mailbox on January 1st. You know what I mean? Take it a little bit at a time. And then by January 31st, I should be able to walk around the block. I'm just using these for examples. And then set the goal for February. Like, what am I going to do now? Oh, I think I'll walk around twice. And slowly but surely, you get to where you want to be. Great story. There's a great story about that, about this cattle rancher. I've told this before, but it's worth repeating. A cattle rancher, and every day he drives out to feed his cattle. Every morning, early in the morning, he gets in his truck and he drives out to the pasture and he kicks off the bales of hay, and then he turns around and comes right back home. And he does this every day for 20 years. And pretty soon he has worn a rut in the earth where he drives his truck across the field. And it's gotten so deep because he takes the same route out and the same route back every day for 20 years. And these roots are so deep now, these, I don't know, do you call them ruts? Ruts. These ruts are so deep now that he doesn't even have to use the steering wheel. He just turns on the car, gives it a little gas, and it just goes right along the little rut tracks. And he flips it around and comes right back in the rut traps. Sounds funny. Rut tracks. In the little worn out route he's been taking. And he does that every day. And then one day he decides he wants to move his cattle to the other side of the property. And he gets out and he's like, oh my God, my truck is never going to go that direction. Like, how am I going to get out of these ruts? And he tries to make some real hard, sharp turns, trying to pushes the gas, and it's too stuck. And so he starts driving out to his pasture, and he decides he's gonna take his time, and he's gonna move these cattle slowly. And he just drives his truck out, and he turns his wheel just 1 degree. 1 degree. He turns it 1 degree to the right every day. 1 more degree. 1 more degree. And in 160 days, right, he's turned himself around. 182 days or whatever it is. He's turned himself completely around, right? He's got a new path. But he couldn't have done it if he tried to just do it all at once. And I think those are corrections. I think those are little corrections every day. You set the autopilot. This is where I'm going. This is where I want to be at the end of the year. And you push the gas. And if you're veering off track because of your old behaviors and you keep going the other direction, just turn your wheel 1 degree. 1 degree every day. And those will build up. And eventually you'll be headed towards your goal, right? Whatever that is, with relationships, your program, your job, your health, your home, your kids, whatever it is. But this instant switch, this thing where you can set a goal and just go there, like a plane. Shit's going to happen. Turbulence, wind, weather, flocks of birds. I mean, another plane in your path. You've got to divert and then get back on the track, right? So, I like the idea. I like the freedom that it gives me. First thing, it makes me feel more relaxed, and I can get there. I'm just going to have to make small incremental changes. And the best way to do that for me, is the 11th step. I got to check every day, right before I go to bed. I say this prayer and I correct it. I correct my course, right? It's a course corrector. That's the 11th step, course corrector. So, I love the reading, and, I'm so happy you guys have joined me. I'm so happy you're listening. I'd love you to not only subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're on, but give it a rating. Of course, give it a good rating, but give me a rating, and that helps me in the algorithm of life, whatever it is, to get the message out to more people. I appreciate your support. I am doing a 6-week program starting in April. I'm going to be sending out the details first to my email list. If you're not on my email list, I suggest you get on my email list. If you don't know how, put it in the comments. And I'll send it out to my email list first because I don't want the group to be too big. But we're going to go through everything I know about alcoholism, addiction, codependency. I'm going to tailor it for the group. So I'm going to ask you some questions. If you sign up, I'll ask you some questions to see what stage you're in. Maybe you need more information about treatment centers and sober livings, and what's the difference between inpatient and outpatient, and how does that work? And what if you have no insurance? And maybe that's the stage you're at. Maybe you're further along than that, and you're like, how do I get this person out of my house? Whether it's your child or your spouse or an aunt or uncle or parent. Maybe you're at that stage. So I want to make sure the information we cover is really valuable to you. And as a bonus, I'm going to be taking everyone through the 12 steps of Al-Anon. So look for that in my newsletter. In fact, I'll put a link to join the newsletter in the show notes. It's just, you just grab one of my freebies. I've got some great information there. I've got one ebook I just finished, and it's if you're new to this whole thing. If you are new to Al-Anon, if you're going to Al-Anon right now or Nar-Anon, or you're seeing a therapist or a family therapist and they're talking about boundaries and they're talking about detachment and all these terms with codependency. I took the top 10 terms from Al-Anon, the top 10 ideas that you will hear over and over and over again. And I put a very simple, easy description and an example with each one so you can apply it to your own life. So that's there too. It's on my Stan store. And there's also a free, everything you don't know about codependency. That'll get you right on my mailing list. And I don't overmail, and it's not, I don't sell it to anybody. It's just so I can keep in touch with you, regardless of what happens to any social media platforms or podcasts. And I do provide a lot of free stuff to my email list. So you might want to get on that. Check out the show notes. And there's a lot of stuff I offer in there, a lot of more support. And I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me.